Hello, hello. Welcome to the Twin Tell All podcast. I'm Ava.
I'm Aveen.
And welcome to episode 3. Thank you guys so much. By the time this was recorded, we had over 100 followers on our Instagram. Our podcast is on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. It's also on Google Podcasts. So if you haven't done so already, please follow us at Twin Tell All on Instagram. We also have a TikTok that's in the works. Go follow that. And thank you guys so much for the support.
Also, to add to what Ava was saying, we are also on Threads. So if you're on Threads, I would go check it out. We post some pretty funny stuff. And yeah, so we're just going to get started right off the bat. So this podcast is going to be about travel. And so Ava and I, we were really fortunate growing up. We had a lot of our family members kind of live everywhere, all across the world. And we also had parents who absolutely loved to travel. So we got to go to a lot of different places. And with that, we have a lot of travel stories. And the funny thing about our travel stories is like every place we go to, like something has to happen, like something, whether
something like, always goes wrong,
event happens, like something that just characterizes the trip all in its entirety. What do you think of?
Yeah, it's always the case. Like most people like they go to the airport and their problem story is always like the dad getting so pissed at all the passports being checked. But I'm not talking about that with Aveen and I. I'm talking like a trip goes wrong, taxi doesn't show up. The luggage
not showing up is like the least of our problems.
We get depressed like halfway like to where it's not a vacation. Like it's like there's always something where it's not a vacation.
No, there has to be. And if there's not, there's something
is not right in the destiny of the stars of our vacation. So basically the first thing kind of a little trigger warning if like vomiting and throwing up like triggers you, just because if people who don't know, I am extremely sensitive to motion sickness. Like really in the car, I cannot look down when we're driving. Like I can't
even be on our phone.
I can't be on my phone. I can't read a book. And so Aveen and I are Persian, and every summer we go to Iran. It is plus 100 degrees, kind of like how it is now in Texas, but even worse in Iran. I don't know why. It just is worse in Iran.
The reason why it's worse is because, one, most of the taxis don't have AC. And a lot of the homes, then and of itself, aren't like, it's kind of like if you go to like Italy, right?
It's just not American version of Italy, AC.
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's just not, because it's like it's like this in Europe too. Like the AC is just not as powerful, if we're gonna say that.
And the taxi, so like you get everywhere by taxi, and the taxis don't have AC. So every time we travel to like an aunt's house, my dad needs to call ahead and confirm there is an air conditioner in the car, or they know it's about to erupt from me.
And the other thing is, it's like growing up, Ava would throw up so often, you guys, in this taxi. Our dad would have like an extra $40 like in his pocket so that the guy can go
get a car wash,
his entire car.
But anyway, all these taxis also have fuzzy seats, just because you know they're older. It's not really
fuzzy. It's like more velvet, guys.
It's like a velvet seat, and then imagine that on top of Texas level heat, on top of wearing like a cover up because you know you have to cover yourself up or whatever. So every summer I literally barf in these taxis and I embarrass myself so bad.
She's like old, you guys. Like this isn't like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I'm not 5. I'm like I have to sit in the middle.
She's a grown ass woman. Yeah. And the other issue, guys, with this whole like summer thing is the fact that like it is hot everywhere. Like there's no place where you can go to cool down, and like with us in this taxi, I would be the one that would be face pressed against the window trying to give Ava an ounce of like free space, because if she doesn't have free space, or one, she's throwing up on me, or two, like she's just gonna get too hot and it's just
dangerous
issue.
And everyone 5 minutes in the car is like, Ava, you good? Ava, you good? And I just look forward and don't say a thing. But besides,
and listen, do you remember when we went to this place? It's called Shoman, guys. It's called like the south of Iran, or is it north or south?
Shoman is north.
Farsi. North. Yeah, north of Iran. And Ava, like literally, we had 3 barf bags ready to go because we were taking our aunt's car all the way over there. And like I remember like being in the back and being like, I was about to throw up. And I lost journals, erasers.
Yeah, I basically ruined a lot.
Like they were just covered in barf.
But the funniest barf story though was not in Iran but in Italy.
Oh my God.
And so we went to Italy a few summers ago, and we were driving in this big ass charter bus.
Like, we're talking 40s.
Yeah, because we went on a tour. So, like, everyone on our tour, there was a lot of people because we were traveling in a big group. And so we were riding and driving through these twisty, mountainous roads in Italy. And
it was Amalfi Coast.
It was a lot. And I had just eaten. Also, whenever we went to, like, eat out, I thought gnocchi was pasta.
I mean,
like orzo. Like, and people who don't know, like, I'm talking, like, pasta, like, pasta dough consistency. I mean, like, how do I describe it?
But gnocchi is, though. It's a potato pasta.
It's potato, but it's not like real pasta where, like, it's chewy. It's like a potato mush.
This isn't mac and cheese, though. Like,
anyway. I know, but, like, I was expecting gnocchi. Anyway, I'm bad with food and pasta. Like, I don't know.
Italian food is not Ava's thing.
Yeah, I don't like Italian food, but other than pizza. Anyway, we were going to I ate gnocchi and it wasn't what I expected before the bus ride, and so I ate it anyway, but it wasn't good. But anyway, we go on this bus.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's hot and like we're driving through the mountains and like it's very curvy, twisty roads.
Guys, like we're talking like this in order to drive in this very specific Amalfi Coast area that we were in. They had to acquire a special license. Like, not everybody was able to drive. Yeah,
because the roads were so narrow to where, like, you were 2 inches. The bus was, like, 2 inches away from a motorcyclist on the shoulder of the road.
And, like, from literally falling off the cliff, too, because we were on the side of a mountain.
Yeah, it was super, super, like, treacherous.
Ava's worst nightmare.
Anyway, yeah. Well, yeah, the worst nightmare is not the thin shoulders.
Know,
it's the twisty turny in the
driving.
Heat.
That's what I meant.
Twisty turny.
She's giving all twists.
Anyway, so we were driving in this bus, and I was not feeling good halfway, and my mom can always tell because I make this very distinct face. Like,
she turns pale and she just looks forward, and anything that you try to tell her, she just nods.
Anyway, I like knew it was coming, and so I was in this bus, and I was trying so hard not because I didn't know where to throw up because there wasn't a bag, so there were only two options: either smack dab in my lap or in front of the like over the head of the passengers. And keep in mind, everyone in this bus is like 60 plus years old because I don't know what it is with
these tours that
mature people who like want to get a tour, but like everyone was like plus 60. So we were going and I threw up on myself, hurled, and this lady
I like darted out.
I mean jumps out of the
seat of a moving bus.
I threw up in my lap in the heat on this bus, and keep in mind it's like an hour-long ride. So I was covered in throw up, and this grandma lady next to me shakes her head, and I hear her say, "Oh dear." Like
guys, there's a whole family on this tour. It was their anniversary.
And I guys, trigger warning
it was
too.
Literally their anniversary, and we were celebrating it, and we were on the way back, and Ava just decides to throw up right behind them.
Amin also always says like there was, guys, this is so disgusting, but there was like a chunk of tomato on my thigh, and I like wiped it off. And, like, it fell into the floor. My poor mom cleaned everything up.
Listen, I brought wipes. I knew it was going to happen.
Wipes. And when I tell you, I've never felt so guilty. But also, like, you know what was even funnier? Other than that grandma that said, "Oh, dear," no one gave a shit about it.
Nobody gave
like, no one even noticed.
Shit. And the other thing is, like, I think they noticed. I think they just didn't want to bring it up.
What?
Because I think they just didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, I think they just saw me throw up and were like...
It smelled like fucking Italian restaurant. Like, it was disgusting.
And it was all the gnocchi, and like, now I can't have gnocchi ever again.
Okay, yeah.
But also another funny-ass thing that happened in Italy was... Aveen, our luggage in Italy didn't come on time.
Our first day.
So, yeah, our first day, because they were striking or whatever at that time.
Oh my God, that was that airport situation was such a mess.
Yeah, everyone at Italy was giving hella attitude, and we were just accepting, like, yes, we dumb American, like.
We're stupid, okay, we get it, but, like, where's our luggage?
Bonjour, but, like, no.
Like,
Anyway, so we decided Aveen and Mom were going to go to the hotel, and my dad and I were going to stay back and wait because they were like, we don't know if your luggage will even get to your hotel. So, and we were moving location, so we couldn't afford to not know where the luggage was.
And also, the city that we were stopping by, we were doing like a stop by stop. So we started North Italy and ended south. So our first stop was Lake Como, but our luggage was in Milan. So Ava and Dad had to stay 3 hours away. We had to drive 3 hours from the airport to get to our destination.
Like the airport was really far from where our hotel was for our first stop, so we just decided it'd just be easier for us to just stay at the airport
because it was going to take 6 hours for the luggage to get there. So by the time we drove home and drove back, the luggage would have already been there. So me and my dad
stayed at this hotel, or not a hotel, at the airport, waiting for the luggage, and we were just sitting there and waiting, and we were like, "Who's gonna drive us?" And we met this random, really nice man named Luca. Okay, at this airport. Shout out Luca. He's definitely not, but like, but he was super nice, and so we were like, "Okay, this man's gonna drive us." We got our luggage like a few hours later. And we were like, Mom, send the address.
Right. And so I was here when this happened. Mom literally just went to the front desk and was like, okay, my husband and whatever, explaining the situation, got the address from him, got him to type it word for word into his phone. The address was sent to Dad. And so, meanwhile, while Ava and Dad were on the way home, Mom and I were having a beautiful wine candlelit pasta dinner on the Lake Como, like, beautiful.
They were basically enjoying. My dad and I were eating
and we were eating Ava's pasta. Sandwich. I was literally eating Ava's pasta.
But basically, we were there and we got the address from Mom, and I tapped it into the phone, Luca's phone, and Luca took us. And he was driving, and Lake Como was our first spot, and Lake Como was like a very beautiful, scenic, oceanside area. And he kept driving, and I kept looking, and I was like, this man, like, he's driving where the directions are taking us, like where it's supposed to, but it doesn't look like Lake Como. And I kept turning to my dad and being like, Dad, like, I think something's wrong. And he was like, whatever, like, whatever happens. He's driving us, and Luca said some really weird ass shit in the taxi too. He was talking about like, he was just talking to me and trying to practice his English, so he started talking about his ex-wife and his kid. Anyway, he was just being a funny taxi driver. And so we end up, like, it says destination arrived. And when I tell you we get to farmland, we literally get to this hotel-looking condominium, like, smoker area with like sheep roaming everywhere and hay. And I'm like, this is not Lake Como. And I turned to my dad and I go, we are in the wrong spot. So keep in mind, we don't have data. So Luca is communicating with my mom via WhatsApp.
And so our mom and I are literally sitting there eating dinner. All of a sudden we see this chicken guy with the chicken on his neck.
Luca's like profile
send a WhatsApp. And then we're like, who is this? And it's like, this is Ava. We're in the wrong spot. We were like, oh my God. And so Mom ends up calling this, whoever it was that WhatsApped her. And they're like, and then we realized that now they're 3 hours in the wrong direction from the airport. So actually it's 6 hours away from where we are.
And keep in mind, it was like 8 p.m. at this point. And we had to go the next morning. So it is 8 p.m. and we are like 6 hours in the wrong ass direction. Not even
our first full day.
And this poor taxi man like took these two Americans into the wrong way. And when I tell you, we are lucky that Luca did not vanish on us.
No, he did not.
Luca could have left us in the abandoned hay farmland of Italy and been like, you deal with it.
Y'all don't even know Italian either, so that would have been a nightmare.
And Luca kept getting calls from like his family in Italian, like
where you at? Yeah,
and I couldn't understand, but I knew like he needed to be home, and so he drove us all the way back, and it was just so funny. And at the end, he started becoming really buddy and was like, if you ever need like Italian wedding driver, like
they got his like business card, and so he was like, for her wedding.
He was so cute and funny. Adorable. But that was me and my dad were so tired by the time we got to the hotel.
And by the time they got there, we got like a cold plate for Ava. It was like this beautiful stracciatella and burrata cheese moment with tomatoes, and they were like, absolutely.
I'm like, we went to Burger King. Me and my dad are the types of people that go to Burger King or McDonald's in Italy.
We were like, my dad looked at that, I was like,
and we eat it up still.
We're not eating this. It was so funny. And that kind of like the whole idea of things going wrong. There was another time where This time, most of the things that goes wrong, would you say it's you or me? Like, involved. Like, you know, like, in these kinds of situations, it's, like, you and dad, or, like, the...
Well, we never separate, usually. Like, no, this was the first time ever we were traveling where, like, dad and mom, like, we were separated. Like, me and dad were separated from you and mom. But anyway...
Yeah. Another super funny story that happened to me was when we were in Russia. So we ended up going to Russia with all of our family, with like our cousins and stuff from Iran, and this was kind of crazy.
We were also on a tour again. Our family likes
our
tours.
Family likes tours, and so Av's right.
Yeah.
So we ended up going there, and we were with, again, everybody was over 60 except for Av and I, and we end up going to the Russian airport, and our flight and like our journey is kind of over. And the people at our tour are the ones that are responsible for our ticket. So they just hand everybody a ticket, and they realize, oh shit, why doesn't Aveen have a ticket? So we end up going to the desk booth, and they're like, oh shit, we accidentally assigned Ava 2 tickets because we saw 2 people with like similar looking names and just thought it was like a freaking typo. And so then they were like, well, she's going to just have to stay behind and take the train all the way from St. Petersburg to Iran alone. And dad was like, absolutely the hell no, she's not doing that, because it was also crazy because they didn't speak like there wasn't any English signs either in Russia, so it was just absolutely nuts.
I just remember there being a problem with you and me sitting there playing Order Up Cooking Mama on my god, phone.
Ava was unfazed.
I'd be like, oh, like everyone's like, Aveen may not make it to Iran, and I was like, dice the onions.
Yeah, oh my god, literally, she was such a big help. And so then basically everybody started freaking out. The tour guys started freaking out, and I was like, I wasn't old enough to be able to go by myself either. And so then basically what ended up happening was we end up finding and kind of honing down this man named Dimitri. So Dimitri takes me, dad, and the tour guide to a secret room in the airport. And this is like exactly how it was in the movies. Like, I have a notes page on my phone literally documenting this because it was absolutely insane. It was literally insane.
You would write so many things in notes.
I would write so many things in notes. And anyways, so I started documenting what was happening. This man basically went into a secret room, started coding me a ticket. He literally coded me a ticket out of nowhere and started basically manipulating the system so that I could get on the plane. And it was super funny because, long story short, I ended up getting a ticket, and I got a first class ticket. And
yeah, they coded me first class.
A crazy first class ticket when like everybody else was like in economy. So I went from like not even having, or like normal, right? So it's like I didn't even have a ticket, and I went to having economy, or I went to having
she
first
was
class.
Alone, like
it was
some
so
8-year-old.
crazy.
Oh, how old were we? Like,
yeah, and like I had to take like the first class bus to the plane, and everyone was like, "What is this?"
All these like
doing?
rich people were like,
"Yeah,
who is
Aveen?
Who is this?
Who is she?" And I was like, "Okay, bye guys," and it was super funny.
Russia was wild.
It was so fun.
We also ate. I ate McDonald's for the first time there,
yeah,
too.
We had our first KFC in Russia.
First KFC in Russia.
That was crazy.
And my mom always is like, I've never eaten McDonald's. And I'm like, I vividly know you have. Remember. Shout out mom, though.
Literal
if you're
cap.
listening.
Literally cap. Like, I've seen her eat those hash browns. She eats them up.
Literally. I'm going to talk about whenever we were in Aruba, okay? And we were in... we also need to talk about when we were in... where were we when mom broke the dude's nose?
Oh my god, guys. Jamaica.
Okay. We have also a lot of stuff with banana boat sofa riding.
Yeah,
stuff.
Anything that has to do with an inflatable on the ocean, you should not allow Ava to go on, and you should also not allow our mom to go on.
Yeah, so basically there's 2 stories. One is we were on a banana boat and we were riding, and banana boats, like, you have to be careful with like your positioning, like you have to lean in a certain way if like the wave is coming.
No, if you're going on the banana boat, if the boat is leaning right, you naturally have to lean left.
It's like natural balance that you do when you literally want to stay upright.
Right.
And for some reason, my mom doesn't understand the rules of gravity. So we are in this ocean and we're all turning left when we're supposed to, and my mom just doesn't follow the directions.
She's going with the motion of the boat.
Like, screaming, mom, like, what are you doing? Like, it's not that difficult. And so we're riding, and there's these people, like, we went with like the tour guide people, or not the tour guide, but the people that like run the banana boat. There was like 2 of them, and so all of a sudden we hit this wave or something.
It was crazy,
and we all fall off. I feel mom's entire body weight collapse on me as I fall into the ocean, and then I get back up and I see this man, tour guide, like clutching his nose.
No, he was gripping that shit.
He was gripping his nose. My mom's out. He she elbowed this man in the nose on a banana boat ride and broke his nose.
No, we literally got back to shore. Poor guy had to go to the hospital, and we came back the next day, and he was literally like, yeah, guys, like, my nose is broken. Like, I can't be on the boat today. We were like what the?
Who goes on a banana boat ride and comes back with a broken nose? Only if you're riding with us, literally.
No, literally.
Only if you're riding with us.
No, that was
But
crazy.
there's another sofa ride story where we went on the sofa ride with our friend. We had this friend, let's call her like Jenny.
She was so
We
great.
met Jenny on vacation, also playing volleyball. So if you haven't listened to our episode 2 stories about like making friends with volleyball, but we met her on playing volleyball.
We were in Aruba.
And so we were like, let's go sofa riding. And so we went. They do it in groups of 3. So it was us. What was her name? Jenny. Her fake name, Jenny.
Her fake name's Jenny.
Me, Jenny, and Aveen were all in one. And then there was this group of like 3 people. There was like 2 dads and like a little boy. And so we go, and there's this like crazy man driving this boat. Like I'm like, this man, he looks a little like.
Have you guys ever seen Rasputin from Anastasia? He kind of looked like
Russ. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That movie's so
I love
good.
Anastasia.
Underrated.
If you've never watched Anastasia,
yeah, honestly,
turn this podcast off and go turn it on.
Honestly, that is the only reason why you should not be listening to this, is because if you have better things to do, that being watching Anastasia.
Go watch Anastasia. But anyway, this man was weird. And so the first group, so like the group of 2 men with their little kid went first, and their ride took like a solid 10 minutes.
12 minutes max.
We went on, and Jenny was in the middle, and Aveen and I were on the sides. And this was at the point where we were really tiny, so she needed to be in the middle to like balance the sofa.
Yeah,
properly.
we were kind of.
And so,
my God, guys, the lights just flickered.
We just flickered in our apartment.
It's because school is starting tomorrow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can't believe this.
Continue.
But anyway, we were on this sofa, and this man is riding like this boat and carrying us so fast in this ocean, and I was dead ass scared.
I was
terrified, and Aveen was enjoying herself so much. She goes, faster, and I go, slower. Like I was screaming, and I was pale. And this high ass dude driving the boat was laughing at me because he saw how pale my face was and was like, this girl, like I'm scaring her and like doing such an amazing job at it. We went for a solid 30 minutes.
And Mom was like looking for us. She actually
so
genuinely got
in
scared.
The ocean. We were so deep, and this lunatic looking man was taking us all throughout the ocean. We hit a wave. Aveen and I catapulted off so far. I literally vividly remember I was wearing a scrunchie too, and my scrunchie fell off my hand, and I saw it sinking in the ocean, and I had to grab that shit so fast.
She saw her sinking into the abyss.
In my memory. Like, we were so deep, and after that, I was so scared, and I kept telling this man, stop, slow, and he kept going so fast that by the time we were done with this sofa ride, I went onto the shore with my legs shaking, and my mom was standing there with her phone like, Ava, like, how was it? And I was like, do not talk to me. Like,
she was so pissed.
Straight to the
and
bar.
Ava started screaming at me. She's like, don't do that again.
Yeah,
Stop.
I was so mad at Aveen because she kept saying faster as if I wasn't literally about to pass out.
Honestly, in my defense, I really couldn't see you. Like, I couldn't see.
You could hear me, though.
I know, but, like, I was having fun.
Anyway,
I didn't think it was that big a deal.
I was mad, and I went to the bar, and this man goes, what would you like to drink? And I go, Sprite, please. And I took
Sprite. Guys, the Sprite was, like, half of the Sprite fell because Ava's hand was, like, not even mobile.
I was scarred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was our travel episode and stories. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads at TwinTellAll. And we hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for the support. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday, which we call now
Twins Day.
Or Twin Tuesday. Which one should we do?
Honestly, we'll put a poll out and you guys can
we'll put a poll. Is it Twin Tuesday or Twins Day?
Twins Day.
Okay, bye guys.
Cheers.